Investing in foreclosures has a lot of potential. A lot of our clients are seeing increased profits on foreclosures through auctions or through REOs. So what are the factors which make some investors have more profit than others? This is Dave again at TitleSearch.com and AFX Title. There's a lot of interesting due diligence that you can do on a property to see what potential for profit there is and also to avoid losses. One thing you can look at is, was this property a prior rental? Before being foreclosed, did the borrower live in it or did they rent it out? They may have lived in it at first. Even if you look at the mortgage and it says a primary residence mortgage, it may have been converted later to a rental. How do you find that out? Well, when we do a title search, we'll know on the assessor's records if the mailing address for the taxpayer is different. That means they were getting their mail at a different location, so somebody else is living in the property. That's a first good clue. If it's been rented out, what was the rental success? How much did it rent for? You may be able to find links to it, maybe on Craigslist, maybe on some rental source of classifieds in your area to see what the rental amount was. You can maybe even see pictures of what it looked like on the inside, where as a buyer of a foreclosure auction, you can't see the inside of the property. You can only see the outside. A rental listing might show that. You may be able to find the prior tenant and ask them about what that property was like and what potential problems there were, maybe plumbing, maybe air conditioning. Was the property listed for sale? Was there a realtor MLS listing on that property? Again, you can find out how much it was listed for. And if it didn't sell, that means it might have been too much. It might mean it needs work. You may be able to get interior pictures again if it was listed for sale. Code violations on a property are an indication that there are deficiencies. Maybe there's too many people living in it. Maybe it's listed as a 4-bedroom when it's only a 3. Maybe there are electrical issues that aren't up to date, up to code, especially being used as a rental. If there's a wave of foreclosures in the neighborhood, that's another piece of information that you can use for intelligence. So what's next for that neighborhood? If there's 20 houses on the street, 5 are in foreclosure, it could mean that it's a bad thing. The neighborhood's in decline. It also could be a good thing, that all those houses will soon be rehabbed and the neighborhood will be looking better very soon. So looking at the foreclosure ratio of that neighborhood might be a good indication. Was it all the same lender? Were there different lenders in that neighborhood? That might indicate that the neighborhood itself has a problem. If it's all the same lender, it could be that they just lent to people who couldn't afford that neighborhood. Are there permits pulled on that property? If you see permits that are open on that property or that have been pulled in the past, that could indicate recurring problems. It could indicate the plumbing is always getting fixed or upgraded. It could be that the house is falling apart. It also could mean that the owner put a lot of work into it. If the permit is for granite countertops, you might be able to tell that without having to get inside the property. Some mechanical details might be on those permits, the make and model of the AC unit, the heating unit, what have you. You can also look at police call-outs. Have there been a lot of 911 calls in the neighborhood? Have there been a lot of police reports at that house or in the neighborhood? That might indicate what kind of activity is going on there that you might not see just driving by a couple times beforehand. Another really good source of information is what's called a CLUE report, C-L-U-E. It's an insurance report for claims. And it's a database of insurance companies. When there are claims on a property, it goes into a database just like Carfax on a car. It can tell you about what type of claims have happened at that house. Maybe there's water damage from a leak. Maybe there's a robbery and the claim is for replacing a TV or jewelry. It may have been a fire damage that's covered up by some recent repairs. There also could be insurability problems. If there's a lot of water damage in the house, sometimes insurance companies will no longer issue mold coverage because the inside of the walls might already be wet and have mold in it. So doing some background intel on potential investment properties can really help out. A lot of that can come from a good title search, looking at those records in depth. A lot of it might come from walking around the neighborhood and talking to people. More importantly, every activity on a property's history leaves a footprint somewhere. permits, title records, mortgage records, rental records, tax assessors. Every one of those leaves a footprint. Put them all together, and you can get a bigger, clearer picture of that property, more so than maybe the bidders you're bidding against at the auction, that can give you insight into that you should avoid the property as a loss or pay a little more because you know it's going to be a good, profitable investment.